The council chamber aboard the Arcturus Citadel was silent, dangerously so. No one dared speak above a whisper in the presence of the High Arbiter. Not when he stood tall upon the crystalline dais, flanked by the living banners of 50 alien civilizations, each swaying gently in artificial atmosphere. High Arbiter Zeal-Rock, elder of the Gatari Imperium, spread his clawed hands wide. His voice carried no anger, only authority. By unified vote, the Soul species has been judged a destabilizing element. Per Council Resolution 900-7, they are to be brought into compliance. Immediately. No one applauded. There was no need. The message was clear. Humanity would bend, or it would break. A pulse of light shimmered at the center of the chamber. The holographic feed stabilized, revealing a single human, dark-uniformed, standing in silence. His name flickered in alien glyphs, Commander Ilias Rahman, Supreme Officer of the United Soul Forces. He didn't flinch under the thousand staring eyes of the galaxy's ruling elite. No visible emotion. No bow. Just observation, as if he were measuring them, not the other way around. Zeal-Rock's lips curled slightly. He addressed the human in measured tones. "You are authorized to speak on behalf of your species?" "I am," Ilias said. His voice was calm, clipped. Every syllable echoed. "Then understand what you face." Zeal-Rock raised his chin. "Your defense grid will be dismantled. Your fleets will be grounded. Your colonies integrated into Council oversight. Non-compliance will be interpreted as hostility. You have 24 Earth hours. No sound, not even static, from Earth's side of the transmission." Then, Ilias tilted his head slightly. Not arrogant. Not amused. Just disappointed. "Message received," he said. "Try it." The feed blinked out. No farewell. No explanation. The chamber erupted. Delegates shouted over one another. Some demanded immediate sanctions. Others urged caution, disbelief lacing their voices. Zeal-Rock let the chaos play out, savoring it. He had spent years crafting this moment. Earth's pride had always grated on him. This was his chance to finally erase it. He turned to his military aide. "Begin mobilization. Activate Operation Contain Soul." On the dark side of Mars, within the command dome of Soul Defense Station Argos, Ilias Rahman watched the stars through reinforced glass. Not through screens. He never trusted screens. Nothing artificial could replace the clarity of seeing the black with your own eyes. Behind him, the command center hummed softly. Tactical AI whispered over encrypted networks, monitoring Council fleet formations along the Kuiper expanse. They were moving. Subtly, but moving. He folded his hands behind his back. Earth's silence hadn't been hesitation. It had been patience. "They'll come," said General Arya Sundar, standing at his side. Her breath left a faint trail on the glass. "You just told the most powerful alliance in the galaxy to go to hell." "I reminded them we're not afraid," he replied. "Same thing." She handed him a datapad. Latest scans. 3 Council cruisers had crossed the Demeter line. Ilias barely glanced at it. "They still think we're primitive. They'll find out." He turned back to the void, letting the quiet settle. Earth had been quiet for a reason. 2 centuries ago, the world had been on fire, burning with greed, war, and self-inflicted collapse. But it didn't die. It evolved. The climate collapse had nearly ended humanity. The oceans rose. Cities drowned. Nations broke. For a time, humans had lived like animals, starving, scavenging, tearing each other apart. And yet they rebuilt. Together. Now Earth was unified. Not perfect, but aligned. Every colony, from the Martian cloud cities to Europa's ice-ringed settlements, stood behind the Soul Pact. Not through fear but will. The galaxy never understood that. They saw silence as submission. Isolation as weakness. They never noticed the shipyards under the asteroid belt. The orbital cannons hidden in Saturn's rings. The stealth fleet beneath Neptune's shadow. And that was the point. Back at Arcturus, Zeal-Rock paced the inner chamber of the Council's war wing. The other enforcers were gathered via secure channels, faces flickering in angular alien holograms. "This is a necessary act," he said. "The humans are dangerous, volatile. Unchecked, they could destabilize everything we've built." "Their silence unnerves me," murmured an avian delegate from the Kaler tribes. They did not plead. They did not rage. They simply waited. "They're bluffing," Zealrock snapped. "Primitive species always are." "They were primitive," said a quieter voice. One of the youngest council observers, an insectoid named Selika. "They're not anymore." That thought lingered. The council had underestimated upstart species before. But none had grown this fast, this quietly. "Shall we negotiate?" one delegate asked. "No," Zealrock hissed. "We don't negotiate with the defiant. We break them." Aboard Earth's Lunar Defense Relay, Lena Rahman, 16, junior cadet, and daughter of the man now called Earth's Blade, watched the sky. Not for stars, but for shadows. Her monitor pulsed softly. Dots were moving near Pluto's edge. She tapped her earpiece. "Dad." "I see them," came Ilias' voice. "Steady. Always steady." "You think they'll shoot?" "Eventually." "You ready?" "Always." A pause. "Are you scared?" she asked. He exhaled. "Just once. Only for them." That night, Earth issued no broadcast. No war drums. No last warnings. Only silence. Across the void, Council fleets advanced. The galaxy held its breath. And Earth watched. Unflinching. Shadow in the artificial daylight above New Dakar, yet its presence dominated the horizon. Made from salvaged hull fragments of ships lost during the Earth collapse, it wasn't beautiful. It wasn't meant to be. Commander Ilias Rahman stood at its base, gloves tucked behind him, helmet under one arm. He wasn't there for ceremony. No one was. The place was silent except for the wind passing over the red plains, carrying the faint hiss of dust against steel. A plaque embedded in the stone read, "Here fell the age of arrogance. Here rose the will to survive." Behind him, footsteps approached. Soft, measured. "You come here often?" General Arya Sundar asked, stopping beside him. "Every time I'm ordered to make a choice someone else will die for." She didn't respond. She knew better than to offer comfort. Martian officers didn't do sentiment. They watched, endured, acted. "Council fleets have crossed Saturn's outer rings," she said after a moment. "Low profile, running cold, but they're not hiding from us. Just showing off." Ilias nodded slowly. "They're poking the walls," he said. "Looking for cracks." "There aren't any. That's what worries them." He turned from the monument and began walking back toward the shuttle pad. Arya followed, both of them flanked by silent security drones gliding just overhead. Earth had once been on the brink. The 22nd century nearly ended everything. When the climate turned, nations dissolved. Governments lost control. Billions starved, burned, or vanished in chaos. For 100 years, silence blanketed the planet. Not peace, just the quiet of dying. Then came the arc shift. First were the Mars colonies, barely functional at the time, sending down aid. Not out of pity, but because they knew, if Earth died, so would they. Then, the new Pacific Alliance, the last functioning sea state, proposed something radical. Not war. Not surrender. Unity. One nation. One planet. One species. It took 50 years of blood to make it real. The Soul Pact, forged on the frozen bones of what was once Geneva, wasn't perfect. But it worked. Now Earth was a fortress. In orbit above Venus, within the command station Helios Edge, an alien intelligence spoke through a digital interface, the Predator-class AI, RAAZ-9. Council probe intercepted. It reported in its neutral, androgynous tone. Trajectory corrected for Martian orbit. Defense perimeter remains uncompromised. Commander Rahman stood at the holotable beside the AI's central core. Venus shimmered below in chemical swirls, still hostile to life, but now brimming with solar harvesters and kinetic satellites. "What did the probe see?" Ilias asked. "Nothing we didn't want it to." He studied the data projection. Earth's outer shell looked empty, by design. The actual defense grid, iron halo, was cloaked across multiple orbits, folded between dark matter nodes and invisible to Council-grade sensors. Every ring carried rail lances, anti-gravity platforms, quantum disruptors. Hidden. Waiting. He turned to Arya, who had joined him from the secondary uplink. How long until they provoke engagement? They're stalling, she said. They expected panic. Protests. Maybe even surrender. They expected old Earth. Arya gave a small smile, but it didn't reach her eyes. On the moon, within the Luna Academy, 16-year-old Lena Rahman sat in a classroom of military cadets. The room was dimly lit, walls covered in interactive simulations of old Earth, wars, disasters, failures. Not to glorify them, but to remember. An instructor paced before the students, her voice sharp. What was the first principle of the arc shift? Unity through consequence, they answered in unison. What broke the world? Self-interest without accountability. What must Earth never forget? Lena's voice was the clearest. That the price of survival was everything. The instructor paused, studying their faces. Then activated the holoscreen. A council fleet appeared in orbit above Saturn, weapons inactive, but not powered down. This is what watches us now. What do you see? Some answered strategically. Others hesitated. Lena raised her hand. They don't understand us. Not really. Why not? The instructor asked. Because they've never had to start over. We did. Aboard the deep space platform Nix Prime, orbiting beyond Neptune's shadow, Admiral Ren Vega reviewed the defense net status. Human ships, sleek and matte black, patrolled the outer system, their movements deliberately slow, almost lazy. The illusion was part of the doctrine. Appear soft. Strike without warning. Council has no idea what we've built, Vega muttered. Behind him, Sub-Commander Lau adjusted his coat and grinned. They still think we run on fission. Let them. What do we do when they test us? Same thing we've always done, Vega said. We let them make the first mistake. They stared at the dark between stars. Somewhere in that void, the enemy was preparing. Back on Mars, Ilias Rahman returned to his quarters. Sparse. Clean. One window, one chair, and a photo on the wall, an old Earth image. A family of 3, standing in front of a rusting satellite dish, smiling despite the wreckage behind them. He sat, rubbed his eyes, and tapped into the secure channel. Lena, he said softly. Her face appeared on the screen, flushed from training, eyes sharp. Hi, Dad. You tired? Not yet. Good. Keep your edge. But remember to rest. You sound worried. He hesitated. I'm thinking about what comes next. She was quiet, then said. They think we'll break, don't they? They always have. They're wrong. He smiled for the first time that day. I know. Above Jupiter's orbit, Earth's forward reconnaissance drone Echo 9 observed the approaching fleet. Council ships, 7 in number, moved in formation. No signals. No warnings. A silent march. Earth didn't respond. It didn't posture. It simply waited. Because this wasn't the Earth that panicked when the skies turned black. This was the Earth that had walked through fire and learned how to carry it. In the cold of the Kuiper expanse, silence wasn't just absence, it was camouflage. The Council fleet came in low, trailing their ion wakes through shadowed void. 7 cruisers. Minimal comms. Passive scans only. They weren't here to talk. Just to test. Aboard the lead ship, Vuractel, Admiral Corvier hunched over a flickering console, mandibles clicking in irritation. Human space was emptier than expected. No patrols. No broadcasts. No defenses in sight. They hide because they're weak, he muttered. Or they hide because they're watching, replied his aide, a smaller reptilian tactician named Jorik. Corvier dismissed the comment with a hiss. Deploy intercept drones. I want their listening post scrubbed. No casualties. Yet. 4 sleek council vessels broke formation and glided toward the unassuming relay station orbiting a dwarf rock called Caduceus 4. It was small, obsolete by council standards. A bait, if one paid close attention. But Corvier never believed in traps, only in brute pressure. The drones locked on. Weapons spun. Then everything stopped. Literally. The drones froze mid-thrust. Systems died. Control feeds cut. The cruisers blinked red. What? Jorik's voice snapped. EMP. Corvier barked. But no, there'd been no burst. No surge. Instead, they saw it. From the black, shapes emerged. Long, angular, matte black, no running lights. No visible propulsion. Human stealth frigates, 6 of them, rose from the rocks like ghosts. They hadn't warped in. They'd been here the whole time. The largest moved first. A concentrated blue-white flash lit the void, silent and surgical. The rail lance tore through Vuractel before Corvier could scream. The ship split cleanly down its spine. The rest followed. One by one, Council cruisers vanished into flashfires of their own reactors, ripped open with precision fire from impossible angles. The battle lasted 28 seconds. Only one ship limped away, half its crew gone, spinning into deep space. In Mars High Command, the war room was silent. Not in surprise, only in satisfaction. 7 targets engaged. 6 neutralized. 1 disabled. Debris containment at 70%, reported Admiral Arya Sundar. Ilias Rahman stood at the far end, arms crossed, eyes on the tactical display. The AI's voice, neutral as ever, continued its summary. Enemy assault pattern was primitive. Standard triangle pincer. No adaptation mid-engagement. No respect either, Arya added. They thought we'd be slow. Clumsy. Ilias didn't answer. He walked to the table's edge, touched the projection of the shattered fleet. Zoomed in on the wreckage. Not for pleasure. Not for triumph. For confirmation. They had just announced to the galaxy that Earth's silence wasn't ignorance, it was calculation. Do we recover anything from their logs? He asked. Partial data cores from Cruiser 6. Scrambled. But enough to confirm the mission was black-tagged. No public record. So they'll deny it. Of course. Let them, Ilias said. He turned away from the table and faced the window. Out there, somewhere, the Council was spinning this. Hiding their failure. But it didn't matter. Word always leaked. Fear always traveled faster than light. In orbit around Neptune, Admiral Vega watched the broadcast from the battlefield. He was quiet, arms folded behind his back as the footage played again. Council ships entering the asteroid field, their lines clean, disciplined. Then, nothing but annihilation. They're not going to forget this, said Lau beside him. No. But they needed the reminder. Do we escalate? Vega shook his head. Not yet. Let the shock do the work. Fear is more efficient than fire. Back at Arcturo's citadel, High Arbiter Zeal Rock stared at the security reports flashing across his command deck. They were late. Conflicted. Incomplete. Council cruisers had vanished. Signals lost. No distress calls. Just silence. He clenched one of his 4 fists. How many confirmed losses? 6 ships presumed destroyed. 1 unresponsive, said a Council AI assistant. And Earth's casualties? 0. His throat tightened. Across the chamber, members of the High Circle muttered. The Krith ambassador leaned forward, skin pulsing violet in concern. They struck without warning. With precision, added another. With restraint, said Selika, the insectoid observer. The room fell into a different kind of silence, uncomfortable, thoughtful. This changes nothing, Zealrock declared. This only proves how dangerous they've become. It proves they can cripple us without stepping outside their system, Selika responded. They chose not to destroy that last ship. Zealrock ignored her. We initiate full blockade protocols. Assemble Fleet Theta. Begin orbital containment. And if they resist again, asked the Krith, then we erase them. Lena Rahman was alone in her bunk when she saw the headline scroll across the inner screen of her datapad. Council fleet annihilated. Earth's first strike confirmed. She didn't cheer. She sat back, knees pulled in, eyes locked on the details. Ship names. Coordinates. Commander call signs. Then the feed cut to static. Censored. But the message was already out. She activated a secure channel. "Dad, I'm here," Ilias answered. "I saw it." "Good. We started this." "No. We ended their first mistake." She hesitated. "Are they going to try again?" "Absolutely. And if they bring more, then we show them what we built while they weren't watching." Earth's outer defenses were already shifting. The iron halo network pulsed to life, ready for a second wave. Every defense satellite repositioned with mechanical grace, aiming not at the void, but at the thin blue thread between stars, the direction Council fleets would most likely emerge. Humanity wasn't reacting. It was preparing. On a hidden comms line, far from the eyes of his fellow Council members, Zealrock sent a private signal. "Assemble the full fleet. Black protocols authorized. Bring them to their knees." Earth didn't respond. Not with threats. Not with warnings. Just silence. And beneath that silence, 1,000 weapons waited. The Council Armada arrived at the edge of the solar system just past midnight UTC. 5 dreadnoughts. 9 carriers. Over 100 support cruisers. No stealth this time. No subtlety. Their message was unambiguous. Dominance through force. In Earth orbit, the stars dimmed beneath the hulls of human defense satellites. The iron halo network began silent alignment. On Luna, kinetic silos came online. The Martian cloud arrays bloomed with red warnings. All of Earth's eyes turned upward. At Mars High Command, Admiral Arya Sundar's fingers traced across a holographic readout of the Council formation. Full blockade formation. Theta configuration. Their standard suppression doctrine, she noted, brows furrowed. "Means they expect capitulation, not resistance," replied Ilias Rahman from across the table. He stood still, jacket unbuttoned, but eyes focused like a loaded railgun. "Or," he continued, "they're bluffing, hoping we fold." Arya turned her eyes to him. "And if they're not?" He didn't answer. He didn't need to. Everyone in the room knew Earth's answer had already been broadcast, through the debris field in the Kuiper Belt. The Council's command vessel, Supremacy of Judgment, held position just beyond Neptune's orbit. High Arbiter Zealrock stood atop a glass deck, surrounded by shifting light screens. His expression was unreadable, his voice sharp. "Transmit ultimatum." A pulse traveled through comm space, a wideband demand encoded with Council command keys. "Earth, you have 6 of your hours to disarm all planetary defenses. Failure to comply will result in full planetary quarantine and orbital sterilization." No reply. On Earth, in a subterranean bunker beneath the Rocky Mountains, Lena Rahman entered the war room for the first time. Her clearance had just been authorized. She hadn't slept since the fleet was sighted. Ilias turned when she arrived. He said nothing for a beat. "It's time?" she asked. "Almost." He looked at the chrono. "Council's given us 6 hours. We give them 4. What's the fallback?" "There isn't one." She frowned. "That's not strategy. That's defiance." "No," he said quietly. "It's conviction." 2 hours passed. The Council ships moved closer, crossing the orbit of Uranus in synchronized arcs. Inside the Supremacy, Zealrock watched the feed from Earth's orbit. No mobilization. No retreat. "They refuse logic," he growled. "Then we erase them." His aide hesitated. "But if they possess additional defenses, deeper weapons, then we test their pain threshold." He signaled. "Initiate orbital assault." 10 cruisers broke formation and accelerated toward Earth's orbit. Missile tubes armed. Plasma cores spun. That's when the trap closed. From Europa's shadow, 3 human stealth corvettes emerged and fired subspace disruptors. The cruiser's shields shattered in an instant, overloaded by graviton pulses designed specifically to counter Council tech. From Pluto's exosphere, Earth's newest asset made its debut, the Eventide, a dreadnought unlike anything the Council had catalogued. Angular, lightless, quiet. Its weapon fired only once. The beam didn't explode. It erased. A column of pure null matter sliced through 3 cruisers, deleting them from space and time. No debris. No light. Just absence. The Council fleet froze. And then the second wave came. Human vessels poured from dark space nodes positioned along gravitational veins, short-range micro-warp channels Earth had developed in silence during its disappearance. In under a minute, 47 ships appeared across 5 vectors. All of them coordinated. All of them silent. The battle began. It wasn't a war. It was a lesson. Lena watched from command as Iron Halo came online fully. The defense grid activated in layers, orbital lasers, rail turrets, interceptor swarms. Each one operated by predictive AI, trained not just on simulations, but on centuries of recorded human conflict, from medieval skirmishes to nuclear brinkmanship. "They underestimated us," she said. Arya nodded, tight-lipped. "Everyone does, once." In space, Council carriers tried to launch atmospheric shells, each the size of a city block. None reached Earth. Kinetic interceptors detonated them mid-course, leaving only glowing debris to fall harmlessly into the Pacific. The Council dreadnoughts attempted to form a suppression ring around Mars. The Vigilant Dawn, Earth's Martian-built command cruiser, met them head-on. "Engage burn protocol," Vega ordered. One by one, Earth ships lit up with high-output plasma cores. Their vent trails turned space into streaks of blue fire. They dove between Council lines, not to strike, but to blind. Within seconds, half the enemy's targeting arrays were useless. The rest was precision. Inside the Supremacy, Zealrock staggered as the hull trembled. "This is impossible. Primitive worlds don't." "Sir." "Their ship speeds exceed predicted thresholds. Our shields, our jamming. Counter-strike. Full burn." But no orders came fast enough. Another beam from the Eventide lanced through the darkness. The Supremacy's starboard wing fractured. Its power grid collapsed. Inside, lights failed. On Earth, in the silence following that strike, Ilias Rahman watched the feed end. "Flagship down," an officer reported. He turned to Lena. "And now we give them their out." He walked to the holotable and opened a channel. Galactic frequencies lit up. "This is Commander Ilias Rahman of Earth. We acknowledge your fleet's attempted aggression and have responded accordingly. Further escalation will be met with complete force projection. This is not a threat. It is a promise. Leave. Now." Silence. Then, the Council fleet retreated. The battle had lasted 41 minutes. 12 Earthships were damaged. None destroyed. 32 Council vessels were gone. Later, beneath the burned stars, Vega stood aboard the Vigilant Dawn, overlooking Saturn's rings. "We didn't start this," he murmured to Lau. "But we finished it," she replied. "No. This was just the warning." And Earth waited. Because they knew the Council wasn't done. But now the galaxy had seen what humanity had become in silence. Not weak. Not broken. But watching. And prepared. The Council's retreat didn't last. 6 days after the failed assault, encrypted signals crisscrossed the galactic core. Hidden governors whispered in glass towers. Old enemies realigned. Alliances of convenience sprouted like weeds in war-soaked soil. The galaxy had seen Earth fight and win. That wasn't a triumph. It was a problem. And problems, the Council believed, needed permanent solutions. In a darkened control chamber aboard Earth's orbital relay station Kepler's Edge, Lena Rahman stood before a shifting 3D projection of the spiral galaxy. Red dots flared, Council loyalist movements, clusters forming at key jump sites. Their pattern was unmistakable. "They're not retreating," she said. Behind her, Commander Ilias Rahman nodded, arms crossed. "No. They're rallying." "You think they're preparing for all-out war?" "I think they're preparing for something worse, containment." He gestured to the map. Half a dozen red veils blinked into existence, surrounding Sol from multiple light-years away. "They don't want to destroy us outright anymore. They want to cage us. They're afraid. They should be." At the edge of the Luton system, Earth stealth recon drone Vireo 9 breached a Council listening post and hijacked a data node. The encrypted logs it retrieved told a story more terrifying than war. They weren't just planning a siege. They were building a superweapon. Not to annihilate planets, but to erase stars. A forced stellar implosion array, codenamed Oblivion Halo. Its first target was Sol. Admiral Arya Sundar convened Earth's unified command 2 hours after the intercept. The meeting was brief, quiet, and without room for politics. If they deploy the Halo, there will be no countdown, no threat. Just a missing sun, she said flatly. Ilias stepped forward. Then we strike first. Not at their borders. At their heart. A heavy silence followed. We can't outnumber them, someone argued. We don't need to, Lena replied. We just need to break their chain of command. 3 days later, Operation Reckoning Protocol launched. Earth's fleet didn't move in mass. Instead, they fractured, microjumps, deep fakes, decoys. Each strike group was a needle aimed at a nerve. Their objective: infiltrate and disable the Oblivion Halo before it became operational. At the center of it all was Ilias Rahman, leading the vanguard wing aboard the Lucent Blade, a ship stripped of paint, heavy armor, and even nameplates to reduce its detection signature. A ghost ship for a ghost war. They emerged from dark space on the fringe of Elta Prime, deep in Council territory. The system was blanketed in defensive stations and scanner nets. The Oblivion Halo floated above a dying moon, massive, silent, coiled like a serpent made of obsidian and gravity. Its core pulsed with blue-white light, artificial stellar compression. One ignition would mean a sun's death. Ilias turned to his crew, eyes hard. This is a scalpel mission. No salutes, no speeches. We get in, shut it down, and vanish. Lena, now serving as chief systems analyst aboard the Lucent Blade, looked over the final telemetry. They're rotating their shield harmonics every 12.3 seconds. We have a narrow window to breach the outer layer. That's all I need, muttered Vega, piloting the approach ship. The plan was ruthless and elegant. 4 infiltrator pods. 0 radio chatter. 1 shot. They hit the Halo like lightning. No noise, no ceremony. Inside the structure, everything was eerily pristine. No guards. No engineers. Just echoing halls of humming power cores and automated control nodes. This is wrong, Vega whispered. Too clean. Keep moving, Ilias ordered. We're almost at the control matrix. That's when the doors sealed behind them. And the lights shifted. In the core chamber, a projection formed. High Arbiter Zeal-Rock himself appeared in translucent blue, his face calm. You came here thinking you would stop us, he said. But Earth's defiance was never the threat. Its example was. He gestured, and a screen showed uprisings across Council worlds, planets refusing tribute, refusing silence. You made them remember fire, he said coldly. So now, we burn the spark. Then everything turned red. A countdown began. They hadn't built a Halo to use. They had built it as a trap. They're planning a forced detonation. Not just of Sol, but of this system too, Lena realized, scanning data at speed. The blast will collapse the local fabric. No FTL, no signals. They're going to erase us and the evidence. Ilias activated his comm. Command, this is Vanguard 1. We're inside. It's a decoy. They're triggering a local singularity. Static. No signal, Vega growled. They've cut us off. Ilias took a breath. We shut it down manually. How? The core's already live. You touch it, you die. Lena paused. Unless. She turned to Ilias. I can do it. Remotely reroute the overload to implode inward, contain the singularity instead of releasing it. But you'll be trapped, Vega said. I know. Denied, Ilias said. I go. You're the symbol now, she said, voice cracking slightly. Earth needs a voice. I'm just the echo. They stared at each other. She smiled softly. Tell them I didn't flinch either. Lena entered the core alone. Temperature warnings flared. Radiation peeled skin from bone at the molecular level. She moved fast, fingers dancing across alien interfaces she decoded in secret back on Mars. Almost there, she whispered. Her final keystroke split the chamber with light. Outside, the Halo pulsed once. and collapsed into itself. No explosion. Just silence. And then stars, still shining. Back on Earth, the signal reconnected. Loosened blade to command. Target neutralized. Ilias's voice was gravel, barely above a whisper. We lost Lena. Sundar closed her eyes. Understood. But the galaxy heard us. Weeks passed. Then months. No retaliation came. Instead, something stranger. Silence. Council broadcasts slowed. Tribute ships stopped arriving. By year's end, the Council's central server hub on Rethke was abandoned. No war was declared. No peace was signed. The old order simply ended. Earth rebuilt in that silence. But they never disarmed. Because they knew peace wasn't gifted, it was earned and protected. Not through fear, but through readiness. At the edge of Mars, beneath a statue of Lena Rahman, facing outward into the stars, Ilias stood alone. They thought threatening humanity would end us, he whispered. But they never understood. He looked up at the stars. We never needed permission to survive. End of story. The Council threatened humanity, but Earth didn't even flinch.